going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. You're listening to Trail Tales. If you didn't see the big old button you clicked on, Trail Tales is a podcast where I, myself, Kyle O'Grady, who is a thru hiker, a peak bagger, a backpacker, a big old hiking nerd, chats with other thru hikers and peak baggers and backpackers and hiking nerds about their experiences on the trail. Dude, Baker Bokorney is back. My boy Baker. I always have so much fun when he's on the show. And this episode, we did not have much of a plan. I'm not going to lie. We got a few questions on Instagram. We talk about Baker and his wife Jessica starting up the Vanlife thing slowly. We talk about that quite a bit. And at the end, we reminisce on some stories from the AT. And we also tell some embarrassing stories from various hikes. So it was awesome. I had so much fun. I always have so much fun with Baker, like I said. So let's just do it. Let's get into it. Go leave a 5-star review. Share this show with a friend or your mother. Just do what you got to do. And enough BSing. Let's get into the episode number 146 with Baker Bokorney. Baker Bokorney is back on the show. What's going on, Baker? I feel like we haven't talked since like Trail Days 1965. So how's it been?
Wow, Trail Days 1965. That was a heck of a time,
dude.
Let's see. That was remember the Vietnam War was going on.
Yeah, what was Nixon, Johnson?
Yep.
One of those two was at Trail Days.
Those are both presidents, last names of American presidents, and who presided over the country during times. And let's see. Hippies, protests, 1960s stuff. That's all I got. Music was great.
Yeah.
I was a fan of music back then. I'm a fan of music now too, but I'm also a fan of music back then.
What's your favorite musical note?
Well, let's see.
And make it related to hiking too, because this is a hiking podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. Well, to be honest, I'm a big fan of the microtonal scale. You know what I'm talking about? Is this like something that's on your radar?
I've heard of the Sawyer micro filter, I think.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So because I'm so ultralight, I'm into microtones. So, the standard scale or musical scale, I don't know anything about music, so I'm just going to kind of make something up here, but there's like 12 notes. I think some people are familiar with that concept. And so they break up the harmonic scale into like 12-ish notes. But then, there's microtonal, which is like all the notes in between. So to most people, that would just be out of tune is what we would call that. But this is like, there's like legit music that uses microtonal scales, which is all the notes in between the standard 12-note frequencies. And I apologize to anyone who actually understands music theory, because I'm sure I'm butchering that.
I've heard of micro dosing. I've also heard of micro penises. I know you're very familiar with those, but
yes. Intimately so.
I've never heard of this micro related to music stuff.
Microtonal, yeah. So yeah, I'm all about everything. I keep it all small, keep it UL. So yeah, I'm also into small tones, small differences between pitches. So
it makes sense. Yeah, that should be like a base weight category, micro weight.
Yeah, okay. Once it gets to micro, then someone's obviously going to have nano and pico, but I don't even know. Like at some point, you're just naked. Like what weight is just full naked?
I don't know. Maybe that's is that microweight?
Or are you like? Is at some point are you like levitating yourself? Like you've got drones that are carrying like you, and then you actually weigh less. Like you're carrying less weight. Actually, maybe that's just like a horse. Yeah. You're not even carrying your gear. Like you're just something else is carrying your gear.
I don't know. Can you guys tell that we have no plan for this episode? Like
no, this is all in our notes. This is all in our notes, right?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time coming up with this morning. I was like, okay, I want to make a micro penis joke, so I got to get that in there.
Right.
I had it all planned out.
That was the top of the list for some reason. I opened the show notes up, and first of all, Kyle always has very detailed show notes for everyone who's wondering. He's super prepared every time. But yeah, it was kind of an oddly specific thing to start it off as micro penises. But he
eased into it.
You did,
just like
you did, which is
never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Yeah, we don't really have much of a plan. However, I did put a call out on Instagram like 3 hours ago. That's maybe like 5 hours ago, asking for suggestions for things that we could talk about, questions. We got a few. I'm not going to lie. Not the greatest, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. I also had the idea. I had a couple of good ideas, but Baker vetoed them, so we had to resort to Instagram. I thought that we could, a while back, a long while back, I did an episode with Mullet Mike where we ranked the states on the AT, which I thought was really fun. So I thought maybe Baker and I could do that for the Florida Trail. We could rank the states on the Florida Trail. He didn't like that idea.
It's so overdone. It's so overdone, Kyle.
That is true.
That's the primary problem with that premise. Is just that it's overdone. There's no like logical flaws or anything I'm aware of. It's just overdone. That's really the main reason. I think Backpacker
Radio did that on their show last week.
Yeah, they always do. Speaking of overdone, I feel like every week they're just interviewing someone and they talk about hiking and walking and mountains and trails and backpack. It's all so overdone. I mean, honestly, you know what I mean?
It is. It is very overdone. I also had the idea that Baker and I could do a whole episode giving advice for future Continental Divide Trail through hikers. But then he was like, yeah, but we haven't hiked the Continental Divide Trail. And I was like,
actually, I thought an even better one would be like a trail that we really have like CET. We could probably actually give some like reasonable advice.
Yeah, maybe.
But like, what if we picked a trail that like, I don't know, in an environment that we just have absolutely like no experience. Like we've never even been to that part of the world.
It's Camino?
Like, yeah, Camino, Camino, yeah, definitely. I don't know anything about. I don't speak Spanish.
You were about to say that'd be too easy, so let's hear your Camino tips, Baker.
Well, so my Camino tips are like just show up and do it because it's like they have huts and excuse me if I sound weird, everyone. I have COVID.
Oh yeah, so. Baker is currently. Never mind, I'm not gonna make a COVID joke. Yeah, Baker has COVID. That's actually not a joke. Like Baker literally has COVID.
Yeah, I do. So if I sound a little wonky, if I'm coughing, apologies in advance. But yeah, Camino, I don't know. Like there's huts, you just show up, or refugios, is that what they're called? I don't know.
I don't know.
But no, this is good. We're giving advice on things we don't know. So there's huts, which I don't think that's even the right word for it. I'm pretty sure it's like refugio. There was a guy on the Florida Trail I met who had done the Camino like twice. Like he really liked it.
Oh wow.
I mean, I'm sure it's a blast. Yeah. Like sleeping in a real bed, getting real food every day.
I love doing that. I do that every day when I'm not through hiking.
That's what most days I actually do that.
Oh yeah. Nice.
So I mean, that does sound pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, what's it like in Antarctica? Have you ever hiked in Antarctica? Do you have any good advice for like polar expeditions of any sort?
I would bring at least a 30-degree sleeping quilt.
Yep. Probably no less though. You don't want to carry too much weight. Like your dogs, you don't want to have too many. If you bring like a 0-degree quilt, you're gonna have to add like at least 2 or 4 extra dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
and I also think that huskies, I feel like they're a little high maintenance. They're a little high strung, and they're kind of big. So like, how much food do you have to carry for a husky? Like compare that to like a Chihuahua. Like a Chihuahua probably does not eat nearly as much as a husky does, right?
And they just weigh less anyway. So
right, it's just like a pro tip. Like I don't know, huskies are also speaking of things that are overdone. Like huskies, overdone, right? Like it's like everyone's got a husky. Yeah, they're cool. They look like wolves. I get it. But a nice Chihuahua, like come on, like
Chihuahua.
Yeah, that's Chihuahua.
Chihuahua.
Well, it depends on if you're like pronouncing like a gringo or like a person who speaks Spanish, probably. But
gringo? Isn't that offensive?
Well, I mean, I can say it because I am a gringo, right?
What is a gringo? I don't even know.
Gringo just means a white person, like in Spanish.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's not. I don't think it's offensive though.
Leave it in. Unless Rose hears this and she's like, "No, you definitely don't want to say that." Like, Kyle hates hiking canceled, even though you're the one that said it.
Could be wrong.
I don't even. I plead ignorance. I don't even know. But just cancel Baker. It's fine. He just got a new job. He'll find another one. It's okay.
Oh, boy, that's true. I just did the search. I can do it again.
And speaking of new things that Baker got, Baker just bought a new van. So Baker, he's going hashtag Vanlife, dude. He's gonna be a vegan. He's gonna be posting bikini pics, sitting in the van at some awesome view. I can't wait. What went into getting the van? When did you guys get this idea?
Oh, it's taking a long ass time. Speaking of things that are overdone, like getting a van is actually legitimately very popular and difficult to come by. So yeah, we spent we ordered it like last summer and it arrived like just this. Yeah. So I guess first we ordered a new one, and part of the reason for that is that used ones are essentially very like a used one that's not like doesn't have over 100,000 miles on it is like almost the same price as a used one. Like used cars in general. Yeah, like used cars in general are like are holding a lot of value right now. Excuse me. And
there's the COVID. You mind putting your mask on for me?
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. This is gonna be such a fucking shit show of an episode, but I'm loving it. Sorry to cut you out there.
But yeah, basically like in vans in general are like harder to come by than just any old car, and so they like used vans definitely hold their value. And we also had some particular features we really wanted because to help make it more of a camper van, and we also had we weren't in a rush to start building it, so we were like, oh, we can wait. It did take longer. I mean, it still took almost a year to arrive, which was longer than we expected, but it was fine.
That thing must be slow as shit. Jesus Christ, it took a year to get there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, well, they had to push it. So like part of it is they didn't want to like put miles in the engine. Well, yeah, it's a whole thing. But actually, it arrived, and as soon as it arrived, there was a recall on it, so we couldn't even actually get it. It was like on the lot for like almost a month because it arrived with a recall, which the recall was related to the defogging system on the windows, which is like that's probably fine if you don't need to defog it, but if you really need to defog it, you're like that could be very bad. So we're like, okay, well, yeah, but yeah. So basically, the intention it's a white creeper cargo van, so it's just a big blank van on the inside, like a commercial van. It's a Ford Transit specifically for all you van dorks out there. It's the big boy. It's the 350 148 wheelbase extended, which is like literally the largest, high roof as well. So for me, I'm super tall, and so I gotta have the highest roof possible. So it's basically like the biggest like thing you can get that's still like a van and not an RV. And yeah, it's just a blank slate. So we are gonna attempt to turn it into something livable. That's the goal, at least. So yeah. It's we're kind of just getting started. Jessica was just texting me. I'm just sitting at home because I have COVID, but Jessica is working on it, and she just texted me some photos of. She's got the flooring in there. She's got insulation in there.
Oh wait,
and
she's doing all that.
So she's doing more of the work than me. I'm gonna be honest. So like she's actually.
I mean, she's got like a broken knee, a replaced knee. You just have COVID. Yeah, I mean, that's nothing compared to that.
I know. I'm a wimp. She's all in. She's like. All in on it. I'm just kind of like, oh boy, like so she's dragging me along. I'm like in charge of like electrical and plumbing and propane, but she's basically doing all the design, like most anything that's like woodworking related. She's doing that. So yeah, she's working on it right now. She got the flooring in. She texted me saying, how do I use a screwdriver? Which is it's crazy that she's managed to build the entire flooring and yet she's having trouble with a screwdriver. But to be fair, the screwdriver is one of the ones that's like a torque wrench sort of, so it can be, you can twist it and it'll essentially tighten or loosen only in one direction. And she didn't realize that you could. She was like, it's only loosening, and I'm like, just twist the thing. So it's kind of funny how there's like the mixture of mostly we're completely inexperienced with like any sort of like renovation, power tools, etc. Like we're not very handy people. So we're really winging it. Our landlord was like, oh, you guys like know how to do this? Like, and we're like, nope, we don't have, he just gave us a very incredulous look. And we're like, well, we'll figure it out. So, yeah, it's kind of amazing that she was able to get the flooring done, but she's not sure how to use a ratcheting screwdriver. So, well, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but,
no, she'll figure it out.
We have a lot of enthusiasm, not a lot of knowledge or experience. So we're hoping that the enthusiasm will buoy us through the lack of knowledge and experience, basically.
Yeah, you guys will be fine. And I feel like, speaking of fun, half the fun, speaking as someone who's never done this before, is building it, right? I mean, you guys can customize it, and it'll be a good way to learn some new skills too if it's your first time doing this.
That is a part of it. Is we are interested in like learning all that stuff ourselves. The other thing is that if we build it, when it breaks, in theory we know how it went together, so like we can figure out how to troubleshoot something. But more likely is that a couple of amateurs built it, and so it's definitely gonna be breaking a lot. So yeah, it's one of the excuse me, one of those. It's probably more likely the latter, is that it will be breaking a lot, but we'll have some knowledge of how it went together in the first place, and so maybe we can fix it. But
you'll get it done.
We'll figure it out. It's it'll be a journey. It'll be fun to do. And yeah, like Jessica's still recovering with her knee. She can't hike right now. Like we're not, we can't do any like big long adventures. And so this is kind of like this is a good opportunity for us. Like we're definitely she's gonna be doing physical therapy for like another year. We'll definitely be, tied down to one location for a while. And so we've got this opportunity to like kind of make this happen and spend a bunch of time on it. It's gonna be very time consuming. I'm sure by the end I'll be probably sick of it, ready for it to be done, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Ask me in a few months how much fun I'm having.
We'll definitely do a van update in our next episode, or maybe our next couple episodes, depending on how long it takes. But
yeah, we'll do an audio-based van tour, which will be really riveting and very.
That would be incredible.
It's a great medium for a van tour is audio. So
yeah, that'll be fun though. You'll get it done eventually, and then you guys can go out and camp, and then on Halloween you can go into the neighborhood, you can pass out some candy, and nothing wrong with that. Everything will be great. I'm kind of jealous, to be honest, because I'd like to have a van eventually as well. Maybe once I get Sawyer sponsoring the podcast again, I'll be able to afford it, but until then I'm just gonna live vicariously through you and Jessica, I guess so. And I think it'd be pretty cool to like roll up to a trail crossing, and like we'll have a full-on stove and kitchen in there. It'd be really cool to like cook like meals like for through hikers coming through, like legit trail magic like that. That's something I've been thinking would be pretty fun. Like set up, have our the kind of the tarp or the awning, I guess is the word, and let people sit in there. We'll have a fridge, we can have a beer in there and stuff. I don't know, I think it'd be like trail magic would be pretty cool to have, like do some like pretty legit trail magic out of there. Yeah, so, you'll never have to hike again after this, dude. You can just go hang out at the trailheads, and you can go camp on the the Forest Service land or whatever, and you'll still be in the woods, so you can still take those Instagram pictures that you never take, and nobody will know. Nobody will know.
I have no intention of like really camping or backpacking ever again once this van's done. That's the whole point, right? Like, why would I ever go anywhere without a toilet again? Like
you're gonna put a toilet in it, really?
Oh yeah, or a toilet and a shower too.
I'm surprised. Wait, are you serious?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. It's gonna be pretty bougie, not gonna lie.
I'm surprised, which again, I don't know much about vans and stuff, but I feel like a lot of the time, or I guess if it was me, because I've thought about it a little bit, because like I said, I do want to have a van someday. Like, I don't think I would put a toilet in it, because I mean, as backpackers, we're so used to just doing our thing in the woods, and so I don't know, especially if there's like someone else there, like in the van with me. Like, I don't know if I'd want to.
Yeah.
Or is it like an outdoor like portable?
No. So basically, the shower area will also have a toilet in it.
Wow.
And so it's kind of like a wet bath. And so that's definitely a huge part of it. A lot of people, don't have showers, and so for toilets, it's just kind of like a rollout thing. And so basically, the living area, the only area in there is the toilet area. And so with one person, that's cool, but with two, that's getting a little less cool. Having to like just take a poo right in front of whoever you're in the van with, your co-inhabitants. That's not like the the classiest thing. And so we were like, no, we're not going to do that. Luckily, because we're going to have a shower, we will also have essentially a closed, very small, but a small closed room. It's not going to be like as nice as like a separate bathroom in a house, but it'll be tolerable. To have that. So, we're planning on doing it up pretty big. That's probably why we got the biggest one. For all that space. But it's all trade-offs, right? Like, it's one of the interesting things about building it yourself, and just like, I don't know, like small living spaces in general, like tiny houses, RVs, camper vans. Like, there's so many interesting trade-offs of what features you have, where they go, the layouts. And so the fact that we're kind of designing it and deciding what goes in there ourselves is part of the fun. Like, it's a very, it's like an interesting, like, I don't know, design and engineering challenge. So
yeah, definitely.
Like, I'm having to learn like how electrical systems work. I hope I don't blow anything up. We'll see.
I hope not either. Jesus.
I hope you don't have to come on here and do an episode of like, Baker blew his hand off or whatever. Like, I don't want that. So, But it's pretty cool. Like it's going to be a lot of random things to learn, and just kind of deciding what we want and what can fit where, and it's all trade-offs, which is kind of interesting. I like dealing with those kinds of things. So
yeah, definitely. What's the plan once it's done, or maybe even the long-term plan? Is it just going to be like a weekend thing or a vacation thing, or do you guys have any ambitions to like actually live in it full time?
I think we would definitely want to live in it full time. Like I don't know how long for, but yeah, like at some point that's definitely the goal, would be to some sort of extended time living in it full time and like really just traveling, probably mostly North America, unless we want to like drive it down to South America or something, which maybe, but
Can you
I don't
even
know.
do that?
Yeah, dude, this is the Pan Am Highway. It's like a highway that literally goes pretty much the entire length of the Americas minus what's that called? The Dorian Gap, something gap. Basically, there's a place where there's basically a highway that goes essentially the entire length of the Americas. It's North America through Central and then South America. There is one gap somewhere between, I think it's Panama and I can't remember.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. I knew there was some sort of gap there.
Yeah, so you have to take a boat around that. But
okay.
People totally like bike or like motorcycle or drive cars like the length of that highway. So yeah, in theory, we definitely could do that. Probably we'll start in North America. There's just, I don't know. The U.S., we're incredibly fortunate here. We have so many amazing places to go visit. So it's like we really don't even have to drive to South America in order to see tons of cool places. But who knows? I'm sure we'll drive to like Alaska, go to Canada and everything. But yeah, maybe eventually we'll pop down to like Central South America. I have no idea. We don't really know. But the goal is to live in it full time for some extended period of time. I'm trying to make it set up where I can work from it, because I'm fortunate enough to be able to work remotely, and so that's another part of it. Is like we have to put more work in up front to kind of like, for example, we're gonna have an air conditioner too, so it's like gonna, like I said, full on bougie, but like I'll be able to sit in there on a hot day, and in theory, like it'll be tolerable enough. It's not gonna be like cool in there, but it'll be tolerable enough for me to sit in a warm environment, but still be able to work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, if I want to work, or if I'm going to maybe just take another year, like, I don't know, take some time off, like sabbatical style, like kind of like, what most of us do with through hikes, of just like save up and have some time off. I don't know. Unclear exactly when or what we'll do with it. But yeah, the goal is definitely to like live in it full time at some point, and just kind of like, tour around and start with North America. Plenty of cool stuff to see in North America, and then from there, who knows? Yeah, so
you should check out Detroit. It's pretty sick there.
Oh yeah, well, you know what? It's a Ford, so it actually was built in Kansas, but it was probably technically that's kind of its the motherland, the mothership, if you will, is there. So yeah, we should bring it to Detroit. I hear it's beautiful this time of year.
You can check out
July.
Detroit. What's Cleveland is beautiful.
Actually, we probably will go to Cleveland because we do have family there. But
okay. I'm just shitting on cities I've never even been to.
I know. Sorry, Midwest. Apparently, the Midwest is where we're focusing on.
Yeah, I've heard Detroit's actually on the up and up. So apologies to Detroit. I will visit someday.
I'm sure we'll jet through there. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah. Damn, I'm jealous, dude. I want a van. I think that's so cool for you guys, and like, I wasn't sure if it was just like a for fun thing, because I don't know. In the past, I was like, yeah, dude, I'll live in a van, but nowadays, I don't know. But then again, if you're with Jessica, I feel like it wouldn't be as bad like being with somebody else. If I was by myself, it might be a little. I know people do it and people love it and shit, or at least they say they love it on Instagram. But like, I don't know, it just seems a little lonely to me. But
no, I totally agree. I'm even thinking like the fact that we'll be together definitely will make it a lot more tolerable in terms of loneliness. But I even think that like the two of us will get kind of lonely too. Like we've got like a nice group of friends here in Colorado, and so we'll definitely miss them. But I do expect we'll be spending a lot of time in like these areas that we have a lot of friends, because we just like I'm sure we'll spend a lot of time like in Colorado or in the Mountain West. And we also do have a lot of friends and family like kind of all over North America, like all over the lower 48. So I do think that's part of it, is we will probably kind of hop from place to place, seeing friends and family. And then also I think we'll probably meet people out there too. So it'll probably be those kind of things where like you hang out with someone for a few days in an area and then, kind of go your separate ways. And so we'll see how long we can do it. There's people who do it for like 5-10 years or longer, which that seems kind of crazy. I don't know. I can't imagine that full time we would make it for that many years, but I think at least a year and a half or 2 years, we could probably do that. And like, you know, make regular trips by like where friends and family are and stuff like that. But yeah, I think doing it, I would be a little more hesitant to do it alone as well. I think having two people will make it less lonely.
Yeah, so. Definitely. Well, I'm excited for you guys. We'll have to do some updates, dude. Figure out what other tools Jessica doesn't know how to use. Next time he's like, she tried to use the hammer, but she busted her other knee by accident. So,
well, I mean, I'm glad she wasn't like, how do I use this dangerous power tool? It was like a screwdriver. It's like, you know, the consequences of screwing it up are, you know, kind of minimal. But yeah, if she was like
screwing
with this jigsaw,
it up. You were about to blow right past that. Hold up there for a second. Quality comedy on Trail Tales. Anyways, my apologies.
This is what we're here for.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I mean, glad she was asking about a relatively safe tool instead of like a jigsaw. Like, which direction do I point this? You know. So.
She sends you a picture. She's like mid fucking cutting something. Like, how do I use this? Like, yeah, that'd be bad.
Just got like her hand like right in front of the blade. Like, I just had to make it stable right there before I was cutting.
That'd be no good.
No.
Okay, so let's get into some of these Instagram questions.
Let's do it.
Like I said, some of these are weak, guys, but I still appreciate it nonetheless. It's better than anything that I could come up with. So who am I kidding?
I mean. These are almost as good as ranking the states on the Florida Trail.
they're probably
close. The ranking the states on the Florida Trail is a close second to all of these, but you know.
Yeah, that'd be a short episode though. It could be just a quick in and out. You know, it'd be good. But anyway, so we got one from Ariel. There's a bunch of A's at the beginning of her name. Top 5 bands or songs that you listen to on trail. Baker, and if you want to keep it more brief, I guess, if you just want to talk about some of the music that you listen to on the AT, for instance, we'll say.
Yeah, this is a terrible question for me because I didn't listen to any.
You didn't listen to anything?
No, not
even like some
AT.
Gregorian chants, like fucking nothing.
No, not even, which is surprising, right? Because pretty much any other context, I'm listening to Gregorian chants. You know, I mean, if I'm working, if I'm on a long road trip, that for sure, that's Gregorian chants from A to B. 12-hour drive, Gregorian chants make it fly by. No, I don't know. I didn't. I actually didn't listen to anything on the AT. I think the only time I listened to something. When I was on the Arizona Trail, which is like, so this is the same year I did the AT, I went to the Arizona Trail afterwards, and I was starting to accumulate some overuse injuries, and there was like one day in particular I was like really in a lot of pain, and I kind of want to I was just really honestly just desperate to distract my brain from like, you know, just this pain that was in my ankle, and so I did listen to something. It may have just honestly been like a podcast, but on like a long hike. No, damn. I mean, I really just remember. I more remember the fact that I like kind of got desperate and like I need to listen to this music because it was the first time I had done it. I guess I'll take that back. Sometimes I would listen to music or podcasts at night, in the tent, like sleeping. Sometimes I would do that because those are the one like form of entertainment I would have all day. But I didn't do it while walking for whatever reason, and but I remember this like the first day I was like, I'm really struggling today. And so it was like the first day I busted it out while hiking because I really was mentally like really struggling. And I ended up getting off trail like 3 days later because that's kind of when I had reached like my breaking point of like, I was just in too much pain and it was too much to keep going. So that was kind of interesting. I was like, I realized that I basically was trying, and I kind of was like, I just, if I'm trying to like disconnect to that level from the experience I'm having, I should probably just get out of this experience, you know? And that's not a knock on people who listen to music while hiking, because like, I think if you use it in a certain way, it makes sense. But I was really using it to escape because I was like, I really don't want to be here anymore. But that was because I was like 8 months in of hiking and I was almost at 4,000 miles and my body was just like completely broken. So I was like, okay, I gotta stop. But I guess I will say now when I go on hikes, when I've been hiking like after work, like I'll go on a hike, I do listen to music because it's more like just for exercise, and I'm kind of hiking like the exact same trails I hike like over and over again, and so I'm less like in the moment. I'm more just like kind of trying to pump myself up. And so yeah, like anything heavy like metal, like that's just like gonna get me to grind up those climbs even faster. Yeah, like, let's see. I guess I could talk about the band that I went to their concert and I acquired COVID at it, but it's I don't know what you call I'm curious if you've heard of them. That's Between the Buried and Me. It's like a prog metal.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Yeah, I have heard of them. I don't really know too much about them, but yeah, I've heard of them. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, so that's the concert I went to this 5 days ago, and I'm almost positive I acquired COVID in the mosh pit there, and like literally I was not, it was an accidental. I've never been to a metal concert before, and so I was unfamiliar with the etiquette of moshing and how it works, but apparently right in front of the stage, front and center, is where the mosh begins. And I was like, oh, there's weirdly all this space right in front and center, so I'm going to just go stand here. Yeah, that's because anyone who's sane and didn't want to be like moshing was not there. And so, yeah, I kind of got stuck in there for a little while until I managed to like get myself out. But I wasn't trying to like brag. I was legitimately kind of terrified for a little bit, like stuck in the middle of that, but I got out.
Who else played?
Rivers of Nile was one of the openers. Which that's like
never heard of them before.
Yeah, they're another people. I like them as well. They're like kind of another weird. They have like saxophones and stuff. Like they're very, very interesting. I guess prog metal as well. I don't really know what you call this type of music.
I'm looking at their Wikipedia page. It says prog metal.
I mean, yeah, that's probably like I guess the closest thing. Yeah, they were good too. But yeah, like Between the Buried and Me, I'm also like a total noob. I'm not like a big hardcore fan. And of course, like when you go to a concert, like the hardcore fans, like you can always pick them out. And everyone was like saying BT Bam, and I was like, I don't know what that is. And eventually, I figured out it's like a sort of an acronym for Between the Buried and Me. The BT Bam. Because I don't know. It took me like when I was driving home, I finally put two and two together, like what everyone was talking about when they were saying BT Bam. But yeah, or let's see what other music have I. If I'm like really quiet music at night, like if I'm in my tent at night, I'll listen to like kind of like folk. So like Gregory Alan Isakov is someone I've been listening to a lot recently. It's like really quiet folk music. So just to kind of pick something on the opposite end of the the loudness spectrum. Like I'm not going to listen to metal music late at night when I'm trying to fall asleep generally. So I'll listen to like quieter stuff. But honestly, I don't really listen to a ton of music on like long hikes.
That's so interesting. I mean, it's not like unheard of, obviously. Every time I talk about music on YouTube, I get the guy in the comments that's like, oh, you should just listen to the sounds of the nature or whatever. Which I'm not saying that's your opinion, but dude, I don't know. That's a lot of miles hiked without any music or podcasts. Like that's
it was one of those things where I kind of just got used to it, and so it was like weird to like I don't know. It was also like kind of a weird logistical thing of like fumbling with like the headphones would like fall out. This is like when I had wired headphones and like
get out of here. It's not that big a deal.
I don't know.
I'm calling bullshit.
It felt weird.
You just take them out.
It felt weird to me. I tried it a couple times. And I was like, this is annoying. And I just put them back in my pack. And I was like, I'll just wait till later. I don't know. It was really weird. And I think part of it is I went for so long without listening to music. And then I was like, well, maybe I could see how long I can go for without listening to music, you know? So I think that was another part of it. I was just like, how deep can I go on this where I'm not listening to anything? And I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting. Like you force yourself to be in your mind like all day, or to just be looking at what's around you. To be honest, most of the time it was just like thinking about stuff in my head. I was like, it's really hard to really be paying attention to the trail around you all the time, like to constantly be doing that throughout the day. It's really difficult, especially if things are kind of like you're going through an area with like a lot of the same thing. There's nothing like really sparking your attention, or catching your attention of like, oh, this is changing, or the weather's changing, or the view changed, or like I don't know. I'm not saying I was like uber present the whole time. I really wasn't. Like I think mostly I was just like thinking in my head. I don't know. What about you? What do you listen to?
Let's see. On the AT in 2018, I listened to a bunch of this band called Hot Mulligan. Back before they were. I mean, nobody listening knows them, but that's not true. Probably somebody, but most people probably don't. But it's back before they were cool. That's right. I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna be like, I was listening to them way back, way before they even knew who they were. They weren't even born yet.
Came out with a new album too. That's cool.
Yeah. I actually saw them a couple months ago.
Nice.
And a bunch of other stuff. I'm trying to think of one from the PCT. Brand New. The band Brand New probably sticks out the most from the PCT. I listened to them a lot before the PCT too, but For some reason, I got really into them. They're very like emo, and I think that fits some of the PCT stuff. So
it just was the vibe.
Yeah, that was the vibe. Also, I have this image in my head of you at the end of all your hiking in 2018. You're on the Arizona Trail. Your ankle's banged up or whatever you said. You have COVID, whatever it was, and you're just
COVID in 2018. Yeah,
you wake up and you're in so much pain, and like you're like, okay, I gotta distract myself, and so you like put in some like Nickelback or something, and you're just going along listening to Photograph, and then that's when you realize you're like, you know what? I'm listening to Nickelback. This is a new low. Like it's time for me to get off this trail. I'm done.
I said I didn't remember, but that's not true. It was Nickelback, and as soon as Photograph came on, I was like, no. Like the next road crossing, I hitched into the town, and boom, that was it.
And you were done. It makes sense.
Yeah, that was the lowest of the low. That was the rock bottom for my hike.
Yeah. That's tough. Okay, let's see what else we got here. This is from What the Maddie. What is your most embarrassing experience on trail?
Can you go first? I'm trying to think.
Okay,
nothing's coming
first
to mind, which is really weird. Like nothing must have been that embarrassing, or I've like really deeply repressed it, which means that it's going to come up at some point. And it may not be good, but go ahead.
I definitely got caught taking a shit one time. I feel like I've probably talked about it, but it's been a while. That was on the AT. I'm trying to think. I'll tell a story. This is not actually answering the question, but I was a little bit embarrassed because of this, but I was more embarrassed for the person because it was really fucking awkward what they did. Actually, I have a story. I have a story from the PCT. Okay, so maybe I told this at some point. I talked about it in a video once, but anyways, so I was at a Muir Pass in the Sierras on the PCT, and when I got up to the pass, I kind of sat down, and there was like a number of other thru hikers up there and other people, lesser people. No,
oof,
and
got him.
Kidding. And so I got up there, and I noticed there was this kid probably about my age, and he was sitting like pretty far away from me, like not close enough that we could really like talk or like hear each other. But like I noticed he was kind of like glancing over at me like a little bit. And so I thought like, oh, maybe he recognized me from YouTube or something, because that happens every now and again. But I didn't really think much of it. I wasn't like, oh, why the fuck is this guy looking at me? Like it wasn't bad. It was literally just a passing thought. Like I noticed him kind of glance at me and look for a little bit more than like you probably normally would. Which, like, I mean, maybe, I don't know. There could be other reasons, too. Like, I'm very attractive. But anyway, so that was just kind of where where my brain went. I was like, oh, maybe he recognized me.
You're also humble, too. Maybe he recognized your humility.
Yeah.
And so he really was attracted to that.
No, I am very humble. In fact, a lot of people say I'm the most humble person on the planet, and I would probably agree with that. But anyway, so whatever, and then some more hikers come up, and I start talking to them, and I think he knew who these other hikers were. Like he had seen them before on trail or whatever. Or they were his tramley. I don't know. Oh my God. I just used the word tramley unironically. Oh man.
Yeah. You didn't. That wasn't even.
That's the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. Holy shit.
Yeah. That's pretty embarrassing.
Oh my God.
Maybe I would have just ended here. Ended after 30 minutes.
The 37. But no. So I don't know. Anyway, so I started talking to this other group, and he knew this group that I was talking to. I'd never met them before, but then he kind of came up to the group, and there was probably like 5 or 6 people, and he was like, you're, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was like, oh, you're Kyle hitchhiking, like what up? Like I watch your videos or whatever. And then I was just like in front of all these freaking people, I was just like, oh yeah, like yeah, I kind of saw you staring at me a little bit over there or something like that. And I wasn't trying to be a dick. Like it sounds terrible because clearly it was a dick thing to say, but like in my head, I wasn't trying to be a dick. I wasn't mad at this guy. I wasn't creeped out. Like it was totally fine. And I don't know why I said this. I don't know, but I could tell immediately like, he was super embarrassed, and he kind of like said something else real quick, and then he like walked away from everybody.
Oh,
and then we kind of all just kept talking, and then dude, and so I felt so bad, and so like he started hiking Flossie and I were up there for a few more minutes, and then Flossie and I started hiking, and I was like, dude, I was like, was that bad? Like, should I apologize to this guy? And Flossie was kind of like, I don't know, like it wasn't that bad or whatever, but I felt really bad. So I was like, dude, I got to apologize to this guy. So we were above tree line, and I could actually see him, like maybe like I don't even know, a tenth of a mile, quarter of a mile, whatever ahead of us. And so I just started freaking power hiking down the trail, dude.
Right.
Trying to catch up to this guy. And eventually he stopped and was chatting with someone else. And so I caught up to him and I apologized, and I felt really bad because like and so the reason it was so embarrassing was because like I just looked like a dick. Like there's no like I just
right.
I kind of like big leagued him like Mr. Big Shot here, like, oh yeah, I saw you staring at me. I'm some freaking YouTube like I just like it was which isn't how I meant it. Like I can't stress that enough. That's not how I meant it. But like clearly
sometimes it's just the way it comes across in that context, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, that and so I felt really bad, and so I apologized, and thankfully he was definitely a little embarrassed about it, but he wasn't upset. Like he accepted my apology.
That's good.
And everything. And we were cool. I never saw him again after this. Probably for the best. But
yeah.
If you're out there, Mr. PCT hiker man, I still feel bad about that to this day. Because it's like if someone like recognizes you, like they say a nice thing about your videos, that's like I'm very grateful for that. So like the fact that someone would like go out of their way to like say something to me, which I know sometimes can be a little awkward for them. It's like the fact that he would go out of his way to do that, and then I just said that to him. It's like not my finest moment. I'll say that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think part of it is you're I don't know, like it's your nature to just make jokes. Like you're not just like, oh, thank you, I'm glad you watched the videos. Like you're gonna make a joke, probably something, I don't know, and so the joke just didn't come out the way you intended. You know,
yeah.
Like, I've absolutely been in that situation before.
No, yeah, my jokes never come. I mean, this whole episode, I've been a total douchebag. I mean, I was making fun of Jessica for having a broken knee or whatever, or making fun of you. True. You're dying with COVID. It's just like, it's not good, man.
It's all about context, though. This is funny. That situation, the PCT, was you just look like an asshole.
No, I was an asshole.
It's a fine line, very fine line.
And then another. So the original story where my mind went. This one wasn't. I mean, it was kind of embarrassing for me, although nobody was really there to witness it. But I more feel embarrassed for this other person and their kids. So anyways, this story. So I've never told this story before. I'm not trying to start shit. I don't know who this lady was. I don't know her YouTube. I wouldn't even recognize her if I saw her today. But anyway, so I'm not trying to, don't go out and try to sleuth this shit and find out who it was. I don't know who it was. I don't care. But so anyways, this lady, we're chilling on top of another pass in the Sierras, and I was chatting with this other hiker. We'd been around, and there's a bunch of people up there. And this guy was asking me a little bit about YouTube. I don't even remember what we were talking about. He was just kind of casually asking or whatever. And this lady and some of her kids were up there too. And they were through hiking, I think. Actually, I think they were through hiking. And they must have overheard us talking. But she didn't say anything at the time. And then, so eventually I get up to leave. And I think I kind of walked by them, and we just kind of did like, oh, like, you know, have a good hike or whatever. She didn't say anything then. And then, so I start hiking down this pass. I'm way above tree line. I probably hiked for maybe like 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden I hear someone screaming behind me, just yelling from far away behind me. So I like turn around and I see this lady just like screaming, like, I couldn't even hear her at first. I didn't know what she was screaming, but she was like clearly screaming at me and like waving. And so my original thought was like, oh, maybe I left something up there and she's trying to like get my attention so she can like bring me my whatever I left up there. And then she gets closer and she's like, we're above tree line. It's super rocky. She's like fucking running down this shit. And it's like kind of sketchy. Like I thought she was going to fall and hurt herself. Like I was like scared for her. She's like coming in so hot. And she finally gets up to me. She's like super out of breath. She's like, "You have a YouTube channel?" And I was like, "Oh, maybe she's a subscriber." I was like, "I don't know."
What?
She's like, "You have a YouTube channel?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "How many subscribers do you have?" And I was like, "What?" Like, okay, she's not a fan. Like, I was like, what is going on? And she was like, and I was like, I probably shouldn't have told her, but I was like, I think I had like, I don't know, like 30,000 at the time. So I told her that, and she was like, oh my God. And then she starts talking about how she herself is vlogging her through hike with her kids, and her kids, they were, I don't remember how old they were, maybe like high school age. Like they weren't like super, super young. And they're like not running, but they're hiking, you know, down towards us in the distance. And eventually they get up to us, and I could tell they were super embarrassed. I felt bad for her kids. I felt really bad for her kids. But she was like, "Oh my God, like, can you plug my channel like in your video? Like, can we do a quick thing like for your video?" And so she was just like openly like cloud chasing. It's like literally, which I've never experienced this before. Like that usually doesn't happen with hikers. You know, like usually people are pretty damn chill about it. But she was like, yeah, like let me be in your video or whatever. And so I was kind of taken aback. I was like, I can't believe this lady almost killed herself running down these rocks to catch up to me.
Right.
And it's also like we were right next to each other for like 30 minutes, like sitting on top of this thing. I walked right by you. We exchanged a brief pleasantry before I continued hiking. So I don't know, maybe afterwards she like asked that guy I was talking to about it or something. I'm not sure why. Somehow she must
so
have...
you didn't talk about your YouTube channel when you were near each other. It was after you left, and then somehow.
So I was talking about it with this guy, and I think she might have overheard it or something like that.
Gotcha.
Or I don't know, because I don't know, but it was very bizarre.
Delayed to the point where she had to sprint down a rocky descent to catch up to you to get get a feature.
It made no sense, and so I was so taken aback, and I was like, I don't want to. I probably shouldn't even be sharing this story because I'm really not trying to like start shit with this lady. But like, so I was like, all right, whatever. So I just to like kind of get out of the situation, I just like pulled out my camera and I just like started recording her and let her say whatever she wanted to say. She just like talked about her channel or something. And then I was like, okay, nice to meet you. Turned the camera off, kept hiking. Immediately deleted the video, so it had no chance of making it anywhere. But like, it was so weird, and honestly, I was kind of like, I don't want to say offended, but just like, it was just so disingenuous. Like, and it's not that I'm like some big shot and like you're not worthy of being on my channel. Like, it's nothing like that. I've plugged other people's channels before in my content, but it's always somebody that I like kind of get to know. And it's never somebody who just ran up to me and like, and just blatantly asked to like, you know, be on my channel. Like, no personal connection. She didn't really have much interest in me before she found out about the YouTube, which is fine, you know. But like, I don't know, it was just very disingenuous, and so that was
it's like
was interesting.
You show anyone in your videos who you have an interesting connection with, if they happen to have like some sort of something that they're promoting, like then you might mention it because it's like a nice favor of you to do for other people who are out there, like, you know, trying to make a name for themselves or just trying to like, you know, get their content out there. But like, yeah, if you don't have like the connection first, then it's like disingenuous is probably the best word.
Yeah. Yeah. Like for instance,
on
the PCT, when I met Colton Cosby, who is the gentleman hiking with cystic fibrosis.
Right.
When I met him, we chatted a bunch. We were hanging out. He did mention that he had a channel, but he never asked for anything. Like, he never asked for a shout out. He never asked for a plug, nothing. And so like the next morning, after like kind of getting to know him a little bit and like hearing his story and like hearing how interesting it was,
right?
And how inspiring, I was like, yeah, I'd love to have this guy. So I asked him, I was like, would you be cool with like saying a few words and like plugging your channel and stuff? And I think he was very grateful for that. But like, and I don't know, maybe this lady had some incredible story. It's like pretty cool you're through hiking with your kids or whatever. But I don't know, just the way, and like, dude, she almost hurt herself. Like she was so close to falling right on her face, and like, it was just, and literally the first thing she asked me was like, "How many subscribers do you have?" And I was just like, "What, dude?" So that's not embarrassing. Yeah. It's not really that embarrassing for me, I guess, but I was very embarrassed for her, and mostly embarrassed for her kids. It's an awkward situation. Her kids were not into it. Like, trust me, like I felt bad for her kids.
Yeah,
it was all her, so it was quite bizarre. Anyway, so that's two stories there. Did you have a chance to think of one, Baker?
I did. I have a couple actually. Okay, so I think about halfway I think we're actually at Harper's Ferry, which is like the halfway-ish, it's near the halfway point of the Appalachian Trail. The shorts I was wearing started to develop a rip down like the middle of the crotch area, essentially. And so basically it was, I don't know, it was getting to the point where it was just kind of unacceptably, revealing. And I was like, okay, I can't keep wearing these. And so we went to like the Walmart there. I'm pretty sure it's in Harper's Ferry or some town nearby. And I went to the clothing section and I was like, well, just any pair of running shorts will do. Well, the men's section had like no running shorts whatsoever. They had like athletic shorts, like, I don't know, I guess basketball shorts would be the best way to describe it. They were much longer. They were like down to my knees. And I was like,
those must have been long because you got some lanky ass legs too.
Yeah, they were like way too long. Yeah, they were. And I was like, this is just not, this is not going to do it. Like, I can't hike with like this long of shorts. And they're going to be so hot. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So I was like, well, I guess I'll go to the women's section. So I went to the women's section and they had running shorts there. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's fine. And so I was like, try them on. And I'm like, yeah, they're pretty short. I mean, they're definitely significantly shorter than, the previous pair I had, which were like men's running shorts. And they weren't like super short shorts. But I was like, I need a new pair of shorts. Like mine are becoming really like just unacceptably like revealing. And I was like, okay, I got to get something. So I got the pair of shorts and they're really short. And like, any photo from the second half of the trail, yeah, like the shorts are short and they're black with pink stripes in them. And so, it's definitely a look. But I was like, thru hikers wear all kinds of weird stuff. So I was like, this is fine. This is like a time in my life when I can wear women's shorts and in public and it's probably fine, which is like, I don't know, that's just something I never would have done before. So I was like, I can do this. Well, then I think it's like in Maine. It was somewhere pretty far along, like, I don't know, maybe a month after this. I'm hiking northbound, obviously, because that was the direction I went on the AT. And there's another, I'm assuming, some sort of long distance hiker, through hiker, whatever, coming southbound. And it looks like a female person, would just be assumption I would make. They're coming towards me and they're wearing the exact same pair of shorts that I'm wearing. And I'm like, what do I say? I'm like thinking in my head, like, oh God, what do I say? And I'm like, do I say anything? Do I acknowledge this situation? And they go past me, or like as we get closer, I'm like, oh, nice shorts or something. And she just like looks at me, she like stops and looks, she's like, yeah, they're pretty good. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, did you get them at Walmart? Like, I don't know, I'm trying to like make conversation or something. She's like, yeah, of course. Man. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, have a great hike. I was just like,
oh, wait, I don't know. So you didn't tell her that you had the same ones?
No, it was very clear we had the same ones. Like, we were both wearing the same. Like, she looked and saw. Okay. Like, she just made a, like, she gave like a really goofy smile. Like saw that she acknowledged. Like, I can't remember if she verbally acknowledged it, but she was just like, what do I say? This guy like came up to me and said nice shorts to me, and then he's wearing the same shorts. Like, I was like, I put her in an awkward situation. It probably would. I was like, in hindsight, maybe it would have been better to have just like not said anything, or just like said something but not acknowledged the shorts, But I don't know. It just was too funny. So I just felt like I had like I thought it was funny for myself personally. So I was like, I have to say something. And so we had this very awkward conversation about how we had the same shorts on, and I was like,
that's definitely embarrassing. But for a second there, I thought you meant that like, so you said the nice shorts thing to her because you're wearing the same shorts, but then she didn't pick up on it. She didn't realize that you were
that would have
wearing
been a lot worse.
So then she thought you were like maybe like hitting on her or like
oh my gosh,
just awkwardly complimenting this girl's appearance in the middle of the woods. Like I thought it was something like that, and then she walked away without realizing that the reason you said it was because you were wearing the same shorts, which would definitely be even worse. Like that would be real bad.
I'm pretty sure she like I could tell by like I don't remember if she said it or it was explicit or implicit, but I'm pretty sure she acknowledged, like, I could tell she recognized the fact that the reason I brought it up is because we were wearing the same shorts. And so, yeah, that's true. That could have been really, like, uncomfortable for her if I was just, like, that's not something I would generally want to do in the middle of the woods. So, yeah.
But hey, they were nice shorts.
Pretty good. I guess they're fine. I don't know. I did get rid of them recently. When we moved, we moved recently, and I was like, these are too short. Like, I'm gonna keep these. And then I have one more.
I feel like I remember you wearing those shorts now that you talk about it.
The only pair of shorts I had, like, the entire second half of the trail. So yeah, you absolutely would have seen me wearing them every single day. And I have another embarrassing story. And you'll get a kick out of this because this is a good one. So I'm at I think it's like a hotel in New Hampshire. I can't remember where in New Hampshire. And we check into the hotel, and the people at the front are like, "Oh, there's a hot tub." And we're like, "Oh man, that sounds so good, a hot tub."
Love a hot tub.
I was like, "Oh man, I gotta get some hot tub action." So Jessica and I, check in, like grab some towels, and we start heading out to where we think the hot tub is. And so like they kind of had told us generally where it was. And so we go and we see the hot tub as like kind of glass doors and glass windows and like where the hot tub room is. And it's like, oh, there it is. And you can see there's a sliding door right there. So we walk up to this door and I'm like, oh, cool. We can pop in here, get in the hot tub. And there's like another group of people in there. I think they were like probably through hikers. And we try to like open the door and it's like locked or something. It just won't open. It's like a sliding glass door, like a patio door. And we just like can't open it. And we're looking in, there's like these like 3 or 4 dudes like sitting in the hot tub, and we're trying to get this door open. Like clearly we're struggling, and it's clear like what we're trying to do is get into this hot tub. Like we're carrying towels and we're just wearing like, whatever I don't know, like I'm just wearing like my shorts. Like we're wearing whatever you would wear as a bathing suit as a hiker. And so we're clearly trying to get into this hot tub area. And like we just like can't get like and we're trying to get in, and the dudes in there are just looking at it. They're just staring back out at us. And I'm like hello, like do you want to like give us some indication as to like how you got in there? And so we're trying, and I'm kind of like putting my arms up, like giving like a shrug, and they're just looking, and they're just kind of laughing, and they like just ignore us. And I was like, what the hell? It's like a bunch of jerks. And I was like, okay, so we just start walking around, like I don't know, we walk around. It's like a different door. I don't know. Eventually we find another way. We finally find a way. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm just like, I just really hope that those assholes aren't still in there. So because I don't want to have to sit there with these people who like wouldn't help us figure out how to get in there. And we go in there, and unfortunately they're all still in there. And so, yeah, like it's just like the broiest bros. It's the biggest trail bro crew you've ever seen. They're all just broing out in there, having a grand old time. And we just have to awkwardly sit in this hot tub. And then they start talking to us, and we have to talk back to them. And then in a really unfortunate, set of circumstances, we get to know them. And then we end up hiking with them for like 3 weeks. And then one of the guys makes a podcast after the trail. And he keeps inviting me back. It's just terrible. It's terrible.
Awful.
So have you ever met someone like that? Have you ever like encountered a person who would just be that kind of person before, Kyle?
Yeah, I've met a few. One in particular comes to mind. He totally big leagued this lady that wanted to be in his YouTube video one time.
Oh, those are the worst people.
Real
so yeah,
jerk.
You know who I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Darwin on the Trail. No, just kidding.
Oh, is it Darwin? Yeah.
Darwin's a man.
Must have been.
No.
But yeah, that was funny. The first time we met. Was that right? I'm pretty sure it was that hot tub.
Yeah,
do you remember that? I'm sure you remember that.
I remember that, dude. I literally drove by that hot tub the other day, actually, that hotel there in Gorham. And I was thinking, I almost texted you, actually, but I was already drunk driving, so I was, no, just kidding. I was not drunk, but I was driving, and I did drive by, and I was like, oh man, I wanted to text you and be like, I just drove by the hot tub or whatever.
Yeah, we just went like through the wrong door, and so it was just funny. We were sitting there trying to get in, and like, I don't know, I was hoping you guys like point or something. Maybe you did, I don't remember, but I just remember thinking like,
no, I don't think.
How did they get in there? Like, what are we doing wrong? And I don't know, it was just really funny. And then
it was really funny.
I remember thinking like, I don't know, this like. I don't know. It was just funny getting in there, like, oh man, like these are the guys who wouldn't help us in. But then obviously we all became friends. But it was pretty funny. It was a funny way to meet.
I've always been the kind of person when I'm with my friends that like we'll see somebody that can't hear us. Usually, maybe not this direct where they're like looking in at us, but like let's say
like
we're driving
3 feet
along.
Away, yeah.
Let's say we're driving along and there's some guy like riding a bike. I'll just be like, oh, look at this fucking idiot on his bike or whatever, like shit like that. And so. And not like obviously like I don't actually have anything against it, but it's just like to be a jerk or to be funny or whatever. Right. And so to paint the picture here, if I recall, Baker, and you might have said this already, it's like a glass wall, and then like one of the parts of the wall was a door or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a sliding glass door, like a patio door.
Yeah,
I guess,
and so like it wasn't just like a small little glass opening on the door. It was like a huge, like very clear view. So we're just sitting there, and you and Jessica come up, and we're just like, look at these fucking idiots that can't get in.
We're literally like feet away from each other. You guys are just right on the other side of this glass wall, and yeah, it's not. Yeah, we're like in plain sight, and so it's very. That's why it's so embarrassing, because it was like literally like you could tell it's 4 other thru hikers. They're like enjoying the shit out of this hot tub. We are just struggling to figure out how to get in, and you're clearly looking at us. You can see that we're struggling.
We're just sitting there,
and so
just
that's why it's
you
so,
guys like.
Yeah, it's so embarrassing because we just like, I don't know, you it's like not even just some random person. It's like another thru hiker, so you like expect you're probably gonna hang out with them. You're like, oh gosh, like now it's like embarrassing, and you know they're staying at the same motel.
Yeah,
you have to run into them later. It's like you're probably gonna see them on trail. So yeah, it was like additionally embarrassing because it was just like these, you know, I don't know, like we were just really, really right there in front of you in this giant glass door with our towels struggling to get in, and it was just, yeah, it was, it was quite a sight.
Oh man, it was so good. I really don't remember much else after you guys like got into the hot tub or whatever. Obviously, we started talking, but yeah, I do remember sitting there in the hot tub and seeing you guys like kind of like toying around with the door, like trying to figure it out, and then I was probably just spouting off like, oh, these idiots, like they don't even know like how to get in, like fuck, these guys are so stupid shit.
Yeah, I'm sure. Which is like, if I was on the other side of the door, it's probably exactly what I would have done. Maybe eventually I would have like pointed, and maybe you did. I honestly don't remember that part. I just remember the embarrassment of like then being like, oh, now we have to sit in the hot tub with these other thru hikers, and like, we're gonna see them at our hotel, and I don't know. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, and then it turns out that we kind of have the same sense of humor, so
yeah, exactly.
Out. I said this to kind of start to close out here. I said this on a previous episode of ours because I remember listening back to it recently, but I'll say it again. It's kind of crazy that we only met each other literally at the very end of New Hampshire. Like only a few miles left in New Hampshire, because at that point, you know, we were in Gorham, and so it was really only a few weeks that we were together. But like, and it wasn't even the entirety of that time either. But for some reason,
times when we were split apart and you guys were ahead of us and stuff. Yeah,
definitely. We were always, you know, you guys could barely keep up with us, but no, just
barely.
But like, despite the fact that we really weren't together for very long, it's like you guys, you and Jessica were like 2 of the like closest people that, you know, I ended up having on that hike. And it certainly, you know, now, like I talk to you guys probably largely because of this podcast. I'm just exploiting you basically is what I'm trying to say here. But you know, I talk to you guys now more than I really talk to anyone else except for Flossie maybe. And so it's kind of, it feels like you were there the whole time, but you weren't. It was only that last couple weeks.
Yeah, it was like just the end. I mean, the podcast is a great excuse for us to always be, you know, chatting every month or 2 or however often I'm doing this. So yeah, it is kind of interesting. I'm trying to think of you guys are definitely you're definitely the closest friend that we made on the trail, I would say, because we didn't hike with anyone else really for that long. You hiked with like Flossie, for like and Indy like for like the majority of the trail for like our like long periods. We didn't have anyone like that. We really like. We're kind of going, like, I'm not trying to brag. We were just kind of moving faster than most people going northbound because we started kind of later. And so, I mean, I know you guys started even later, but like we were like way behind and we really had to like kind of push miles, which was unfortunate because it was hard for us to like make consistent trail family, I guess. But once we got to New Hampshire, we were able to kind of go more a more normal pace. And so I definitely remember I think I made most of my friends from essentially like New Hampshire north, like Maine. I made a lot of friends there. Because we definitely like actually probably the second like closest friend I have from the AT I also met in Maine, like near the 100-mile wilderness. And so
who's that?
So we were finally, that was 1 foot.
1 foot, we
were 1 foot, yeah. So yeah, it was like we were finally kind of like going the a more like normal pace, or I guess a pace that like I guess more people were going in that time. So
it makes sense.
Which was really nice. Like we enjoyed that part of it a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I just had this memory come up here. I'm pretty sure because when you said 1 foot there, I think he was there for this. I feel like it's honestly one of the coolest moments from the entire thru hike for me. We were in the 100-mile wilderness. I don't remember the name of the mountain. There's some guy on trail right now was just there and screaming at his phone or whatever. But I'm pretty sure it was the first like real view of Katahdin that we
Yeah.
got. Do you remember that? And like,
Yeah.
I just remember we got up really early that morning for some reason, or like earlier than we usually did, or, you know, speaking for my crew anyways. And I just remember getting up to this point. It was super early in the morning still. And I feel like you and Jessica were there, and One Foot was there too. And like a few other people were there. And just like, it was the first time that we could like, I mean, there was maybe a couple times where you could see it technically like way off in the distance, but it was like just a speck, like it was just a random peak. But like this mountain, you could actually like clearly see that it was Katahdin. And that was like the first like real view of it we got. And I just remember getting up there and like you guys just like being all like hyping everyone up, like, oh, there it is. Yeah. Like whenever like, another person would get up there and like, I don't know. Do you remember this at all?
Oh, I absolutely do. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I'm pulling my phone right now. I've got photos of like
I have a video from it too. Yeah.
And One Foot. Yeah. Like we're all up there. It was like called, it was called like White Mountain, or I don't remember what it's called.
White Cap or something. Maybe?
White. It was. I think it was White something.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what you're talking about. And like, yeah, that was a huge moment because it was in the it was in the 100-mile wilderness, I think, right?
Yeah, it was. It must have been if we were that close to Katahdin.
Yeah, and I've got this is I think Flossie and Indy, they're descending off of it. I can see Katahdin over there, and then they are wearing those orange caps because it was like hunting season. They had those like orange beanies, like I think.
I remember Flossie picked one of those up right before we started the 100-mile.
Yeah. They're both some of the photo here. They're both wearing those, but yeah, I totally remember that. It was. I mean, I will say that's one thing about the AT that probably most, I don't know, like the PCT and CDT aren't going to have is like that really epic ending if you're going northbound, at least on the AT, is like, and seeing Katahdin from so far. I mean, that was a huge moment. It's just like you can just taste it. It's like you're so close. Like, oh my gosh, like we are like really within striking distance now. And yeah, I remember that being a huge day. I actually now look at the photos. Then we went and, do you remember that camp? I mean, there were so many like lakeside campsites in the 100-mile wilderness, but there was one where you all guys were all chilling in your hammocks. There was no shelter there.
Antler?
Yeah, Antler. That was like a really famous one. Antler.
I do remember that. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's that same day from based on my photos. But
yeah,
I mean, maybe it's nearby there. I
remember that campsite specifically because like you and Jessica went and set up like the lake was pretty low, and like you and Jessica went and set up like kind of out where normally there'd be water, right? Like you were kind of like on the rocks there. Yeah, and I remember
the rocks right next to the water.
And then the rest of us kind of set up like a little bit, just past where the shore started. And so we were kind of separate, and I just remember at one point I like went out and like, because they were all kind of like doing their thing over there, and I kind of like went out and hung out with you guys for a bit because I was like, oh shit, like we're only a few days away from being done, so I probably won't see them again for a while. And so I remember that. Oh man, what a crazy time! What a crazy time!
Yeah, that was so awesome. And I'm looking at that was like maybe just 2 days before. What is that? Is it what's the end of the 100-mile wilderness? I mean, no, I know it's the state park, but there's like a something
Golden
bridge?
Road, A-Ball, A-Ball's
A-Ball,
or
what? Yeah, A-Ball Bridge.
I know there's an A-Ball campground inside the park itself, but maybe it is A-Ball. Let me look.
I think, but either way, whatever that like store is, and then I have a photo of like all of us standing outside. I see one photo.
A-Ball Bridge. Yeah, A-Ball Bridge. Yeah,
A-Ball Bridge. I see Indy, Flossie. You guys were all just standing out there, and it's like you have that like blue foam like sleeping pad because it got too cold, and you like needed something to like sleep on. I think, but that was like, I think then basically we had like. What, one or maybe the next day was the next day?
Yeah, it was the next day.
Yeah, the next day would have been Summit. So yeah, that was just like 2 days from the end, and we were at Antler. Yeah, wow, that's so crazy. That's 5 years ago. Like
you should share some of those pictures with me because like I've looked through all my AT pictures at this point, so like I know them all, and it'd be cool to see like some other pictures and stuff that that were all
the amazing ones. But I can send some. I have some of like of the crew in there, and I can send them to you. Yeah, this was like, I mean, that was 5 years ago.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Oh, man.
Dude, I never had any moments like that one on top of Whitecap or whatever the hell it's called on the PCT. The closest thing I think we had was the first time we could see the Sierras, like at the end of the desert.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool, but that was honestly, which it still wasn't quite the same as seeing Katahdin at the end of a thru hike. So like, man, it's like, I didn't really have any moments like that on the PCT, so I cherish those memories quite a bit for sure.
Yeah, me too. That's definitely a unique feature of like AT northbound is like that really just such a clear, like amazing high point as the terminus and everything.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, it's a unique aspect of that.
Faux show. All right, Baker. We were going to do a Chat GPT story, but I mean, this whole second half of this episode was stories. So I think we covered the end of the episode stories. So thank you for coming on.
We gave him some real stories instead of some AI generated stories.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So thank you, Baker. I hope that the van build keeps going well. I hope that Jessica's knee continues to recover, and I hope that COVID doesn't kick you in the ass too hard.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad I was able to record still. This was a nice way this is the most exciting thing I did all day, so thank you.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do it now. I wanted to get you before you croak.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not gonna age well if something actually happens, but no, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Well, you have like a week till you release this probably, right? So you've got
just about 6 days.
Yeah, you'll have like 6 days. So this is a Friday, you'll be next Thursday, I think. Yep. And so if you'll have time. Most likely, if I'm gonna pass away, if I'm gonna succumb to the COVID, then it's gonna be between now and then. So you'll have time to kind of like at least cut that part out and or add a kind of a pre in your intro like address the fact that I passed away or just not release it in general. I don't know, however you want to handle it. I'll be dead.
I couldn't release it. Can you imagine me getting on the intro and being like, look guys, unfortunately a day or two after this was recorded, Baker passed away from COVID. And anyways, here's the episode number 146 with Baker Bokorney. And then the first 5 minutes, I'm like, yeah, Baker has COVID. He's gonna fucking die. He sucks. Like, I couldn't do that.
Oh my god, that's true. You might need to edit some parts out, I guess.
Yeah, but no, you'll be fine.
I think I'll be okay.
You'll be just fine. And I'm looking forward to hearing some Vanlife updates next time we do one of these. So that'll be fun.
Absolutely.
Tell Jessica I say hi, and that's going to do it. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Trail Tales, episode number 140-something. It doesn't matter. Take care, everybody.